tonight, all of the Tostitos are on the line. Wasn't that a
Oh,
famous quote
Chelsea,
for the
yes.
Tostitos or something?
Brent
So
Musburger.
all right, so let's get back to the national championship game. That's what I was saying. In college hoops, we've got Kansas and UNC dueling it out for the national championship in college basketball. But let's take a look at some of the individual players. Who do we think is going to have a big night on the hardwood tonight? Starting with tournament most outstanding player. Who do we think is going to win it all? Ochai Agbaji has the best odds at plus 110, followed by Caleb Love, which was a little surprising to me at plus 400, Armando Bacot at plus 600, and then Brady Manick at plus 1,000, followed by David McCormick of Kansas, the big man, for plus 1,200. Any of these standing out to you?
Well, I'm going to be on North Carolina. So if I'm going to bet on the mop, the most outstanding player, I've got a player prop with Caleb Love. I think he's going to go off, but I sort of like the value instead with Bacot just because here's the thing. Carolina needs Bacot in this game to show out. If Bacot is banged up at all, I know he hurt or tweaked that ankle. Maybe he's not 100%, but they cannot win this game without Bacot coming home because he is such a force on the inside. He's been a double-double machine during this tournament. And if for some reason he doesn't play or he plays limited minutes or he gets into foul trouble, that's when Kansas can really take advantage with David McCormick because Carolina isn't that deep and they certainly don't have someone who can come in and really spell Bacot in an effective way. So I like Caleb Love, and I'll talk about his points prop in a second, which I'm on. But if I'm choosing a most outstanding player, I think Bacot would be my guy at 6-1. I think that's pretty good value, Chelsea.
We've liked him from the jump, just
Yeah.
from a value standpoint, just because before all of this, I believe he was maybe plus 1,400, just because the odds for North Carolina to even get to the national championship, because obviously these odds are correlated, were pretty high. But I like Bacot as well from a storyline perspective. He's been the face of the program throughout this entire tournament. And also he's been there for a long time. Was he been there for 3 years, 4 years? It seems like. So the guy that has been huge throughout the course of the tournament, a double-double in every single game, coming off a game where he had, 20-something rebounds against Duke. So I know that this matchup is pretty tough against Kansas down low, but still, he has been the hot hand for North Carolina throughout the tournament. It hasn't been just one game because I know Caleb Love has better odds than him, and he's made some incredible shots down the stretch. And I will say, if he makes a three to seal the game, he's going to get most outstanding player. But just looking for value here, I think Bacot presents a little bit more value. On the other side, is there somebody we like from Kansas?
Oh, man. I don't know. Agbaji has to be the guy because he has to play well for Kansas to win, but there's no way I like plus 110. I just hate that value. I think I might go with Remy Martin if you're a Kansas backer, if you're looking for value at 14-1. He's a guy, their guard play has been great, Kansas's has, and he's certainly been that guy who helps control the pace for the Jayhawks, even though I think this game is going to be back and forth. But it's hard for me to choose Agbaji just because I hate that value. So I guess I would go Remy Martin at 14-1.
I think I would lean towards David McCormick. I think the matchup obviously is a little bit tougher than the one against Villanova because they had really spotty defense down low. He had 25 points, 9 rebounds in that game against Villanova. And this is an award that it's not supposed to be just the national championship. It's supposed to span the other games. Obviously, a lot of the weight is placed on the national championship game, but he's a guy that's been trending towards being a huge part of Kansas's offense. And so I think you're looking for some value here. And so on the Kansas side, I think I would lean towards David McCormick at plus 1,200. But one thing I noticed, Caleb Love being plus 400 to win most outstanding player, maybe that correlates with his points. I think for that reason, I would lean towards his points prop. Caleb Love going over his points prop of 15.5 points. He's been huge. So I think that's a safer way to bank on him having a big game and not having North Carolina to win the game.
Yeah, what I'm going to do here is if you want Caleb Love over 15 points or more, that's minus 160. But I'm going to take him at 20 plus points and get him at 2-1. He's averaging 16 points a game. But of course, that's over the course of the season, whereas especially now, I want to look at how players are performing recently in this tournament because the tournament is so different from the regular season. Kansas does not play great perimeter defense. They just don't, it's particularly when you're talking about in a half-court set. Caleb Love has hit this number in 2 of his last 3. He had 28 against Duke, and we always talk about the eye test. When it comes to the eye test, Caleb Love is playing out of his mind right now. That shot he took late in that game to put Carolina up for good. He wanted the shot. It was a long 3-point shot, but he wanted it. He knew it was going down, and the confidence he's playing with, his stroke is red hot. I love him to go over 20. It's 2-1, so I'll take the plus money there.
Yeah, and from a props perspective, normally you look at the matchup and try to see where the matchup favors the other team. There's not a whole lot of weaknesses when it comes to Kansas. I'm looking down the line. I'm looking for weaknesses. I'm not seeing many. So maybe it's going to be a tough game from that perspective. But on the flip side, this totals 151.5. So you would think points props should be good since the total is so high and we're supposed to see a lot of points.
Exactly. And both of these teams play a similar type of basketball. That's reflected in the total, which is they're going to run up and down the floor. There's so many athletes out there on both sides, guys that can score, whether you're a Jayhawks backer or a Tar Heels backer. So I'm with you, particularly with Love. And I read something from Hubert Davis, which I really thought was interesting, in that he likes to let his players play, and there's certain spots where instead of drawing up a play, he just gives the ball to one of his guys and says, find your shot. He did that with Caleb Love. He believed in Caleb Love. So this is the head coach seeing a guy playing at the top of his game, and he said, go out there and get your shot. That's exactly what he did. So based on the eye test alone, I'm on Love.
Yeah, I'm on Caleb Love too, especially in the conservative way, going over his points prop of 15.5 for minus 120. I think that's the safest play on the board. This is the